energy up. Keep it up.
You sound like Quincy Jones.
That's right. Check your ego at the door. Welcome to Intro Skippers, the show to consult when you say the phrase, oh, there's nothing on streaming to watch. Well, there is, and I'm sorry I made you sound so dumb. We are talking about The Greatest Night in Pop, which is a documentary on Netflix, and spoiler, we liked it. I'm your first host, Kim.
I'm your second host, Jason.
And I improvised that intro.
I liked it.
Okay, good. I'll try to remember it and write it down later.
Luckily, we recorded it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, great. It's working out. But before we get into that, Jason, how are you doing?
I'm so... It's so thoughtful that you asked. Thank you. No, I'm doing good. I just watched this movie for the second time because I really wanted to re-immerse myself in it. And I have so many awesome feelings about this movie, honestly. But like in general, I'm doing great. I have, I'm under like 6 deadlines right now, but they're all in entertainment. They're all in entertainment. I'll tell you about it later.
Okay. Did you sign some NDAs?
Yes, I absolutely did. There's one that's pretty ironclad.
Okay, then don't talk about it
I
because
won't.
there's evidence you did it now. All right. Well, I have one thing under NDA. I can't compete with you, but it's something. Okay. I'm getting ready to go to a chef-themed party tonight, and I'm getting ready for IGN Live, which I can't reveal anything about, but I will be a part of it. And I did have a meet and greet last year, so it could happen again.
Congratulations. Actually, there's something I can announce. Because I am a cast member of the latest Gundam anime, which is on Amazon Prime Video.
Well, that's streaming. Should we review it?
I mean, yeah, maybe. That'd be fun.
Is that okay?
As long as I can, say that that voice actor is amazing,
I don't know. I don't appreciate this encroachment on my journalism.
All right. Well, sometimes we just can't review things that our friends are in.
No,
and
you
that's
just
okay.
have to give a disclaimer and, don't officially enter it into the record and just say we're having a conversation instead. But
that sounds good.
I don't think we're involved with this one because it came out the original We Are the World, which this is about, came out in 1985. It is a charity single recorded by the supergroup USA for Africa. Right after the American Music Awards in January of 1985. It was written by Michael Jackson and Lionel Richie and produced by Quincy Jones and Michael Amartian for the album We Are the World. It sold more than 20 million physical copies and is the 8th best-selling single of all time. It was meant to raise money for the 1983 to 1985 famine in Ethiopia. So if you've ever seen the music video, this documentary looks a lot like the music video, but with more. Like it's almost like pulled back behind the cameraman.
I even have in my notes that the amount of footage that they have is astounding, and the footage itself is amazing. All the behind the scenes stuff, Michael Jackson working out a part, Stevie Wonder plunking on the piano and teaching Bob Dylan his part. I mean, I know that I'm jumping way ahead, but whoa!
It's fine. We don't have to do everything in order. But the Bob Dylan footage is so funny to me because he's just standing there looking just completely shell-shocked. Like, what am I doing here? I don't want to be here. I'm not speaking for him, but that is what his look kind of gives off.
Yeah.
And then Stevie Wonder has to take him aside and kind of get him more comfortable because that's not really the way Bob Dylan performed. Right?
Right. Not at all. And even when they were recording the chorus with 50 people where he could just sort of mouth along if he wanted to, he didn't. He just stood there
he
totally
looked shocked.
Yeah. What am I doing here?
Oh no. So this is a supergroup song. It came out shortly after Bob Geldof's Do They Know It's Christmas, which did not age as well as We Are the World.
Right.
I would say.
Yeah.
Can I list the people who Okay, the conductor is Quincy Jones. Amazing. He's my MVP, personally. Our soloists, in order of appearance, are Lionel Richie, Stevie Wonder, Paul Simon, Kenny Rogers, James Ingram, Tina Turner, Billy Joel, Michael Jackson, Diana Ross, Dionne Warwick, Willie Nelson, Al Jarreau, Bruce Springsteen, Kenny Loggins, Steve Perry, Daryl Hall, Huey Lewis, Cyndi Lauper, Kim Carnes, Bob Dylan, and Ray Charles. The chorus is, oh my God. Okay, one sec.
I can go. I'll list it off.
Go ahead.
Yeah, if you want a break. Dan Aykroyd.
I'm so hoarse now.
Yeah, Dan Aykroyd, Harry Belafonte, Lindsey Buckingham, Mario.
Huey in the News.
Huey Lewis from Huey Lewis in the News. Johnny Cola from Huey Lewis in the News. Sheila E. There's a whole thing with that. Bob Geldof. Bill Gibson, Chris Hayes, and Sean Hopper, also of the News. Jackie Jackson, LaToya Jackson, Marlon Jackson, Randy Jackson, Tito Jackson, Waylon Jennings, Bette Midler, John Oates, Jeffrey Osborne, Anita Pointer, June Pointer, and Ruth Pointer of, you guessed it, the Pointer Sisters, and Smokey Robinson.
Smokey Robinson. I mean, some of the chorus, I just can't believe they only made it to the chorus.
I know. And this whole thing was Harry Belafonte's idea, and they kept him in the chorus. That was a little weird.
Maybe he chose it. That's my only solution. Is he was the one who chose it.
I think
because they seem to revere him so much. He was such an iconic part of not just music but civil rights.
Oh my God, I know. And right at the beginning of the film, I wrote down this quote because as an artist, it really touched me. And he said, "We believe that artists have a valuable function in any society since it is the artists who reveal the society to itself."
I agree. I mean,
that is deep.
I think entertainment is incredibly important. You could write it off as just this frivolous thing to distract yourself with, but I think it really, in all forms, music included, entertainment holds a mirror up to ourselves, and it teaches us more about not just what it is to be human, but empathy with other humans. It's incredible and invaluable. So when we devalue the arts, I think it's an enormous loss for humanity. It sounds grandiose, but I think it's true.
No, it's not. I mean, it's absolutely true. Defunding the arts, devaluing the arts, we lose our identity as a society. Mm-hmm. End of story.
And I also think people who say, "Oh, I don't consume the arts." Oh, really? Really, motherfucker? You're not looking at any photos or drawings or even words strung together in a way that is compelling. You don't consume any art. You don't watch any television, any movies. You don't play video games. You don't read. Off. You use the arts. You're a human.
Yeah.
Sorry, I swore so much.
That's okay. We can bleep it maybe if we have time.
My bad. Yeah. So Harry Belafonte, who you may remember from Beetlejuice, if you're not familiar with the name, I think you should be familiar with the name. Mm-hmm. He wanted to get younger musicians involved, and some of the superstars of the day, two very notable ones, were Lionel Richie and Michael Jackson.
Right.
Also Stevie Wonder, but he couldn't make it to the writing session, so just Michael and Lionel wrote it.
Well, it's not that he couldn't make it, it's that he didn't call Lionel back.
Well, and that's why he couldn't make it.
Well, yeah. But I remember
was being too generous, maybe.
When they went to the demo recording, he thought they were writing it then, and they were like, no, we already wrote it. Yeah.
So I think Lionel was a producer on this documentary, but he did so much. I mean, so the nature of this with all the musicians is they had to do this, get them all in one place together, because they only had a limited amount of time as well. So they did it after the American Music Awards, which was, as I'm told, an important music award show at the time.
To quote Larry Klein, the producer of the American Music Awards, he said, "Back then, the American Music Awards was a big fucking deal." That was his exact quote.
Ha-cha-cha. We got all the broads. I don't know. Yeah, so Lionel was hosting the awards and performing, and he was nominated for 8 awards, and he won 6. So he was so busy that day, and then he had to harness all of these, different celebrities into this room and get them to focus and perform. I mean, Quincy Jones did a lot of it, I will say. He is responsible for a sign that said, check your egos at the door, because he didn't want them all like...
No person.
My boyfriend says it's not going to be a hit.
Oh God! I bet she's glad she listened to Lionel at the end.
She should definitely listen to Lionel. I actually read a lot of Quincy Jones interviews about this. First of all, I got to say, if you see a Quincy Jones interview, read it. This man has no filter. He will talk about so much. He thinks he knows who killed JFK.
Oh, wow.
He straight up said Ringo Starr sucks, though he's a nice guy. Same for Bono. He will reveal. Well, I mean, there's stuff he didn't reveal. Like the interviewer asked about secrets that Hillary Clinton might know, and he said, "I can't say that." So I don't know, man. But he is a great interview. Any chance you have to find a Quincy Jones interview, read it. He was such a treasure. He comes off as this really connected, really powerful presence, and that's all over this documentary.
If it wasn't for him, it wouldn't have gotten done, because you have basically 40 cats that you're trying to wrangle, or 50 cats that you're trying to wrangle, and Quincy was the glue that held it all together.
I just want to read one line from this interview where the interviewer asks, "There's a small anecdote in your memoir about how the rock musicians who'd been asked to sing We Are the World were griping about the song. Is there more to the story?" And Quincy says, "It wasn't the rockers, it was Cyndi Lauper. She had a manager come over to me and say, 'The rockers don't like the song.' I know how that shit works. We went to Springsteen, Hall & Oates, Billy Joel, and all those cats, and they said, 'We love the song.' So I said to Lauper, 'Okay, you can just get your shit over with and leave.' And she was fucking up every take because her necklace and bracelet were rattling in the microphone. It was just her that had a problem." And the necklace and earrings, it did come up in the doc.
Oh yeah, we saw that all over the doc.
Anyway, that's just Quincy's opinion, but it is also part of the doc.
Then again, if Quincy Jones came up to me and asked me if I liked a song, I would tell him that I loved it, even if I hated it.
Is it because you're scared of his power?
And I respect his artistry so much that I probably would think that he knows something about this song that I don't, and I should get over myself.
Yeah.
I should get over myself. If he told me to sing a song and I didn't like it, I'd sing it anyway.
You'd say, "I ain't singing no Swahili."
Nope, I wouldn't say that. And if you've seen the doc, you know what we're talking about, and we'll just leave that there.
Where Waylon Jennings was like, "Ain't no good old boy ever sang Swahili." So let's just do that part.
Sure.
So at some point, after Check Your Ego at the Door, they all get ready to sing, but then people start having ideas. I think Lionel said at one point, the worst thing you could say is, "I don't know, what do you think?" Because then you'll get 100 ideas. So it was important to just go forward with the idea they had. Mm-hmm. But then Stevie said, "We should have some Swahili in it." And they sang a little bit, and then Waylon Jennings heard it and he was like, "I ain't singing no Swahili." He just left. And then there's footage of that. And then someone brought up the very important point. They don't speak Swahili in Ethiopia.
Mm-hmm. And then Bob Geldof said, "There's no point talking to the people who are starving. We're talking to the people who've got the money to give."
That is right.
And then they realized, let's not do the Swahili part. And
then Michael said, "Let's do Shala Shalinge." And then Smokey said, "No, we're not doing that, Michael," because no one else would tell Michael no.
Mm-hmm. And Smokey was like, "I've known Michael since he was 10 years old. I will put him in his place." I thought that was... And cell phones didn't exist back then, so no one could text Waylon and say, "Hey, we're not doing Swahili. Come on back.
Come on back. You're going to look like a dick." And too bad.
It's okay.
Indeed. There were a lot of really fun anecdotes in this, and there's so many famous people. I really enjoyed Lionel recounting his time with Michael, because you could tell he really loved Michael and he respected his talent, but also he really irritated him sometimes.
Yeah. Like with Bubbles and the snake and...
yeah, he said they were trying to record and Lionel felt really stressed because he was like, he heard there was way more people in it than he thought before and they were running out of time. And then suddenly a snake shows up in the living room that they're working in. And then Michael said, "Oh, there he is, Lionel." Oh, he called him Lionel instead of Lionel. Mm-hmm. "Oh my God, he wanted to meet you. He wants to say hello to you."
He heard us singing and he came over here.
"Wow. Oh no, Bubbles is fighting with the bird in the kitchen."
Yeah.
"Lionel." And I just imagine Lionel being like, "Michael, focus." They're a fun duo, in my mind at least. "Lionel, he knows that you're a lion, and that's the king of the jungle as far as snakes are concerned."
I'd love to see a sitcom with two actors playing Lionel Richie and Michael Jackson. And it's a whole season about them writing that song.
Well, we also discovered that Michael didn't play the piano, so he would just hum all the different parts of the song and layer it.
When Lionel Richie was using that as an example, he was actually humming the bass line to Billie Jean. So I wonder if that's like a foreshadowing. Although I guess Billie Jean had come out at that point. Well,
you want to know something funny from that Quincy Jones interview?
Sure.
He said Michael stole Billie Jean, and he was a cheapo.
What?
And he should have paid for it.
Oh, no.
I told you, Quincy doesn't care.
Yeah.
He'll say anything, even to people he loved.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I also had a note here. There was a category at the American Music Awards called Favorite Black Single. Excuse me? Mm-hmm. What is that supposed to mean?
Well, back then they were trying to categorize music
by race?
By like they considered that like black was a style of music, like, oh, that's black music. Look, I was a child, okay, so you can't.
I think you're responsible somehow.
I was a child, so you can't blame me for this.
I wasn't born yet, so I'm not responsible.
Yeah, you're scot-free. But, I think that category only lasted that year. I looked into it a little bit. The category didn't last very long because people were like, "What are you doing?" Even in 1984 and 85, they were like, "Don't call it that."
That's and they figured it out. That's why.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, Prince won the award.
Yeah.
Speaking of Prince, they really, really wanted him to be on the song, but he didn't want to do it because, Prince has his own thing going on, his own mystique. So they invited Sheila E.
In hopes
that she would tell Prince to come over, and they were promising her a solo, but they just kept saying, "Hey, do you think Prince is going to come? Mm-hmm. What about Prince?" So they didn't really want to give her the solo. They wanted it for Prince. Anyway, that kind of sucked, but I can also see them not wanting Sheila E. to have the solo when we have freaking Harry Belafonte with no solo, Smokey Robinson with no solo, Bette Midler with no solo. Anyway, they gave Prince a spot to Huey Lewis.
Now, Huey Lewis was the unexpected hero of this documentary for me because
really,
because his humility in the entire. Every time they're interviewing him, he's so humble and he's just talking about how nuts it is that he's there, how crazy it is that Prince wasn't available, so they gave him Prince's part. He's like, how am I supposed to do this?
Well, they don't even have the same range.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, Kenny Loggins was the one that recommended him, and technically they do have the same range in the sense that the part that they gave Prince was within Huey's range, but their voices are wildly different as far as the texture of their voices. Mm-hmm. Prince.
Okay, that we can agree on.
Yeah. Yeah. So he did a great job, and I thought, oh wow, Huey is a great dude, and he understood the assignment, and he was just so humble about it. I loved it.
Yeah, I guess that's pretty cool. I mean, there was just so much to pay attention to. I didn't pick that up as much, but now that you mention it, I did pick up that Al Jarreau was drunk.
He was very drunk.
They needed him to stop until after the recording was done.
He almost derailed the whole session because he just couldn't get his part. And he kept wanting to celebrate and said, "Bring more wine." He sounds like
you can celebrate when it's done, dude.
Mm-hmm. We have to celebrate now. He sounds like a medieval king or something. More wine.
No. You cannot be drunk during the performance. I guess the others agreed with me because they tried to get him to stop, and I think it worked.
Yeah, the real hero of the whole thing, of course, is Lionel Richie. But he was the one that was like, when the wine came in, I sent it back out. When Cindy didn't want to do it, he talked her back into it. So there was a phone conversation between Lionel and Prince. And what happened was Prince called and wanted to play a guitar solo on the song in another room.
That's right.
Lionel was like, no, you need to be in the room with everyone else. And, maybe if they had agreed that he could do the guitar solo in another room, he would have shown up. I don't know. But Lionel stuck to his guns. So that was mad respect for that.
But they let Bob Dylan be in the other room.
But he was there. You know what I mean? Bob Dylan was there, and they realized on the spot, on the day, that they needed to do this for him.
Because it just wasn't working for him. Like, truly, not an ego thing.
Yeah, not at all.
Well, seemingly not an ego thing. I don't know. But there was so much fun stuff in this documentary. It flew by. It was only 90 minutes, but it still flew by.
Even from the beginning when, the idea of this was based on, they had just done the Christmas in Africa song. Do
They Know It's Christmas, which has aged very, very poorly, as I mentioned.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All the British artists and Harry Belafonte talking to Lionel Richie's manager and talking to Lionel Richie and saying, we need to do something. And so from there, just the idea of coordinating, 50 plus stars, and being able to put all that together was pretty magical, that they were able to do everything that they did. Mm-hmm. Even like the secretive FedExing 50 cassette tapes all over the country, and worrying about the location being leaked. Mm-hmm. Keeping all that a secret. Of course, the internet didn't. If the internet existed then, the secret would have been out. They were also worried about the troublemakers, like who the troublemakers could be.
Cindy.
Who they needed to keep apart from each other. It was really, really interesting.
I think that was Quincy, because he did the Check Your Egos, and then he had Bob Geldof come out and talk about what is the point of this. We're trying to help people. We're trying to come together and make money to stop people from starving to death, which kind of worked, I guess, seeing how this documentary went. But it did get them to focus, at least at first.
It did. It sort of added some weight to the situation. I thought it was interesting that there was no Madonna, didn't you? Well, especially since she was at the AMAs.
I mean, that was part of the documentary where Ken Cragen, who is the super manager of Lionel and several other musical artists, she said that she wanted Madonna, but he wanted Cindy. Mm-hmm. Who would you pick? I gotta say it's Madonna. She's the one who's really lasted in retrospect, but they couldn't have known it by then.
Right. And at the beginning of 85, I think Madonna was just breaking out, and Cindy had a couple of huge hit albums. So I understand why they chose that. You know what, though? For almost all of the soloists, they really did a good job. Almost every soloist went on to have a great career, or already had a great career when they picked them. But like the newer ones that they picked, almost all of them had really big careers after that as well.
Which ones were the new ones?
The new ones were Well, obviously Cindy. Steve Perry from Journey was just launching his solo career. Daryl Hall and John Oates had just come out. Kim Carnes.
By the way, only Hall is a soloist. Oates is in the chorus.
Yeah. I understand they don't speak to each other now. I wonder if that's where it started.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks you're a better singer. Well, it's true. What?
Get out of here.
I hate you. I'm going to hang out with Garfunkel.
James Ingram. Yeah, where was Garfunkel? I guess they already were split at that point. James Ingram was another one that had a really good career after that. Let me see. The only thing Al Jarreau has had. R.I.P. Al Jarreau. I hope that he is okay with how they portrayed him in this documentary. I guess we'll never know.
I mean, Lionel had final say, and he was there overseeing the whole thing. So I can't blame him too much.
Yeah.
I didn't see Dan Aykroyd at all, even though he's listed in the chorus.
Oh, I saw him a couple times. Yeah.
Did he just not talk at all?
Someone made a Ghostbusters joke, and then they cut to him for like a second, but they didn't interview him. Now, what's really funny is towards the end of the documentary, they started talking about the impact that the song had on the world and how they played it at 7:50 a.m., Greenwich Mean Time or something, all over the world. Every radio station that participated, they all played the same song at the same time.
Oh, wow.
To have impact, maximum impact.
Well, I do want to say it was extremely successful. 4 months after the release of We Are the World, they had taken in almost $10.8 million, which is equivalent to about $31 million today. The majority of the money came from record sales in the U.S., and people also donated their money on their own without buying anything.
Yeah, and I think it's raised over $80 million to date, which they say is about the equivalent of raising $160 million. That's what it said
great.
At the end of the...
That's even better than the number I stated at 4 months. Why did I do that?
Well, I mean, we're talking about the impact of the time when it came out. So, but there was one thing that I thought was hilarious is that when you picked up the single, like to buy it at the store, the first name listed, Dan Aykroyd.
Because it starts with an A.
Mm-hmm.
A
I'm
for
like,
Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd. That was a funny moment just seeing him in the chorus. But I think he was there because the Blues Brothers were hot at the moment, and he was also there for the AMAs. So,
I was wondering who is the friend who brought Dan Aykroyd along, and I was looking at the list, and I was like, I don't know who his friend was out of this list.
I think in '85 he had pretty huge star power, so it would be like the equivalent, let's say, of if we were doing it today, and for some reason, like, I don't know, Jason Momoa was there because he's
because he's just a big deal.
Yeah, or if just someone.
Timothée Chalamet wants to come. Should we let him in? Okay, like that.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that was the vibe with him. Did you find it weird that almost everyone referred to Bruce Springsteen as the boss? They hardly ever said Springsteen. They always just said the boss.
I didn't notice. I heard like Springsteen was there, singing, and his voice sounded like broken glass.
Broken glass. He's got that great voice. It sounds like broken glass.
Yeah, that hurts me, even doing an impression.
Careful. You don't want to ruin your voice.
Yeah, I need it for all those solos I'm going to do.
Well, we've got plans.
You can do what I do, but I can't do what you do.
You never know. There's still time.
Okay.
I did like it when Ray Charles, when everyone was kind of getting unruly and everyone was sort of, Bob Geldof brought everyone down and everyone was serious for about an hour and then everyone started goofing off again. Lionel Richie described it as it was like the first day of kindergarten.
Correct.
And then Ray Charles at one point yells out, "Ring the bell, Quincy, ring the bell." Meaning, like, get everybody in line.
'Cause Quincy is the principal, and Lionel is the teacher, and everybody else is the kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just imagine Lionel being like a Kermit the Frog type figure, where he's just trying to get all these people together and, please, can we do the show? Can you focus? Come on, it's going to be really good. Oh no, animals, stop doing that. You know, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And apparently, I guess Diana Ross went up to, speaking of Hall & Oates, went up to Daryl Hall and said,
Aww.
"I'm your biggest fan. Will you sign my sheet music?" And then everybody started signing everybody else's sheet music.
And then they checked their egos back at the door again, realizing they're in the presence of all these other people who they admire.
Yeah. Tina Turner was really hungry, so she made up a song about a fish burger.
Fish burger?
She ordered a fish burger. I guess they were ordering...
all things.
I don't know exactly if she ordered that from Roscoe's, but they were ordering from Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, which, by the way, if you haven't been, I highly, highly recommend.
I think it's slid off.
Oh, yeah? I mean, I haven't been in a couple years, but...
I think it used to be better.
Okay, well, I'll have to see.
But, you know, chicken's always good.
Yeah. So she ordered a fish burger, possibly from Roscoe's, and made up a song about wanting a fish burger. And then like 30 minutes later, you can hear it just off in the background. Tina Turner goes, "Hey, is there a fish burger in there?" When they brought the food back, I thought, man, that's awesome. I love that. I love seeing everyone being kind of humbled and just wowed by who else they're with. You know?
I really didn't catch the fish burger part, so thank you for doing that.
Hey, no problem.
I do like Tina Turner a lot. That's pretty cute.
Me too. I'll try to find the that point and send it to you so you can see it, because it was great.
Perfect. All right, look for that when you watch it, everybody. Tina Turner and the fish burger. I almost said Tina Turner. Tina Turner and the fish burger.
There we go.
All right. Well, I think we're wrapping up. Do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, you know, for me, okay, so I was 12 when this came out, and so I remember it. And I remember thinking, oh, well, there's a bunch of stars together singing it. Not in a million years thinking about how complicated it would have been to get everyone together. You're just a kid and you're like, oh, cool. Like, yeah, I know who that is. I know who that is. They're doing this charity thing. That's great. And We Are the World was like a huge just part of American culture for like the next year or two. But to watch how this all went down... I was actually involved in a charity song about 20 years ago for the tsunami relief, when the tsunami of the end of 2004 hit.
In Japan?
In southern Asia.
Thailand.
In Thailand. Yeah. And we did that at NRG Studios, and even then it was very interesting because I was involved in some of the behind the scenes of it. And we had Brian McKnight and Maya and Nate Dogg and like the singer from Papa Roach and the drummer from, at the time, A Perfect Circle, who's now in Foo Fighters, and then the other drummer was from Jane's Addiction, and then we had the bass player from 311. Like we had a lot of contemporary people, but then there were things where like, oh, Kelly Clarkson's going to do it, and then she didn't do it. And then, Avril Lavigne's going to come, and then she couldn't come. And then Travis Barker from Blink-182 was going to come, and then he did. So I totally empathized with what they were talking about with Prince and some of the other artists they were trying to get and then didn't get. So for me, it brought back those memories at that time. And what's interesting is that charity song was 40 years ago, and the one that I worked on was 20 years ago. And
there's an even more recent one. Or no? Wait, yes. There is a more recent one, slightly more recent, called We Are the World 25 for Haiti.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And you know who two of the conductors were? Quincy Jones and Lionel Richie.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wait, you're saying it was 25 though? That doesn't make sense.
No, it's called like 25.
Oh, because it was 25 years after the original.
Yes.
Got it.
It's just 2010 that it came out.
Got it.
Yeah. So the artists in this, I'm not going to read them all because once again, it's really long. Justin Bieber, Jennifer Hudson, Jennifer Hudson, Josh Groban, Tony Bennett, Mary J. Blige, Tony Braxton, stock footage of Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, Barbara Streisand, Miley Cyrus, Enrique Iglesias, Jamie Foxx, Wyclef Jean, Adam Levine, Pink, Usher, Celine Dion. And then in the chorus, I can't believe it. It's so long. Oh my gosh, I can't possibly get through this. But Nipsey Hussle's in this.
Cool.
LL Cool J, Fergie for some reason. Sorry. Brandy, Faith Evans, Tyrese Gibson, Kid Cudi, Randy Jackson, the Jonas Brothers, Rashida Jones. Hey.
Hey,
She worked with her dad on this one. There's so many people. It's even longer than the other list, actually, for the chorus. So I'm not going to read it all. But it does have a lasting impact in that it was, I mean, the motif was at least used again beyond the original, where it was already extremely successful, raising millions and millions of dollars for famine.
Good.
This was for earthquake relief, though, just to be clear.
Gotcha. In Haiti. I wonder if Rashida Jones is as like her dad in the sense that she doesn't hold back, like behind closed doors.
I mean, everyone lets loose behind closed doors, but I think Rashida Jones, I'm actually a big fan of hers. I think she makes really interesting, cool choices. I don't say interesting as a euphemism. I think it's genuinely, I'm interested in the choices she makes as an actor and as a writer and someone behind the scenes as well. I was just talking about to her today, like, I'm so impressed with her, but it's probably because this documentary made me obsessed with Quincy Jones and Lionel Richie. And I've been going on rabbit holes for both of them. I'm realizing now, because, this thing is old, and I haven't really thought about it that much, but there was a huge impact made, and I was just really happy to learn about it in this way, in this more granular way than I already knew.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, for me, it had a different connection because I did live through it as a fan, but I loved every second of this documentary. I really did.
All right, so that's a heavy recommendation.
Heavy recommendation. In fact, when I watched it again, I was thinking of people that I was going to text that they should watch it.
That includes you now, listeners.
Mm-hmm.
I have one more thing to ask you, though.
Okay.
Lionel, do you want to check out Bubbles the chimp?
No, I do not want to hold Bubbles.
Oh no, Ricky the bird is having a fight with the dog in the kitchen. Oh no, Lionel.
I love how you somehow make Michael Jackson sound like a Southern belle.
It's because I am not a very good voice impressionist, and I'm not a professional voice actor. Of the two of us, it's definitely not me.
Okay, but it's
realize what I'm
endearing to
doing.
me. It's endearing to me.
I realize what I'm doing now, though. Do you remember Charlie the Unicorn?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the
Hey,
millennial...
Charlie.
Yeah, just slop. Millennial slop. That's what I was doing. Anyway, we love The Greatest Night in Pop. We love We Are the World. They are both very worthy of you watching it. And if you want to jump down a rabbit hole like I did, it's pretty fun down here.
Come on down. The water's fine.
All right, everyone. We will catch you next time.
Bye-bye.
Intro Skippers with Jason Charles Miller and Kim Horcher is produced and edited by Kim Horcher and Jason Charles Miller. The name order does not matter. Additional writing by Kim Horcher. Theme song and incidental music by Jason Charles Miller. Take it away, Jason! You can rate and review this show, 5 stars only please, anywhere you'd like, and you might find your review read on a future episode. Got a question? Email us at introskipperspod@gmail.com. That too could be featured on a future episode. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to Intro Skippers on your favorite podcast platform, but preferably one we're actually on. All right, thanks for getting this far. Here's a special treat just for you. Jason will now do an impression. What was that? A storm? That was really bad.
Yeah.
I thought you were pro.
I'm not an impressionist. I make up my own characters.
You did Optimus Prime.
Okay, that's the only one.
Okay. Sorry. No treats. Bye-bye.